SWBA. What does SWBA stand for? Students will be able to find and solve for angle measures of polygons. Find and solve for angle measures of polygons.
Why?
Yes.
I can't know. This is why I don't like the class.
Sure.
Too much homework.
I would have
Okay.
if you were to do it, you could do it in study.
Hey, listen up. Attention up here.
3 minutes.
He gives more homework.
Guys, attention up here. Thank you. Polygon interior angles theorem. We said the sum of the measures of the interior angles of a convex n-gon is what? We said this last time. Look at maybe that trail in
It's
your
n
class
minus
notes.
2 times 180.
N minus 2 times 180. Why did we say it was this? How did we arrive at that conclusion?
Because you take a triangle minus 2 is 180.
Okay, your number of sides minus 2 is how many triangles it formed. So if we look at that chart, if we go back one page there, look at that chart we made. Okay, we said a triangle has 3 sides and there's 1 triangle. Well, it's a triangle, okay? A quadrilateral has 4 sides and there's 2 triangles. If you make diagonals for only 1 point. Pentagon, 5-sided figure, has 3 triangles. So all the time it was n minus 2 was the number of triangles. N number of sides minus 2 was the number of triangles we made. And every triangle has a sum of 180. So you have to have 180 for every single triangle. That's how we got that. Is that kind of coming back a little bit? Okay. So, this should say on example 1, name the polygon. Name the polygon and find x. So how would we go about figuring out what kind of polygon this is? Counting the sides. So go ahead and count the sides and see if you can name that polygon. Okay? Did you count? Trash. Count. Dodecagon.
Don't blurt it out.
I'm just guessing. I'm just guessing. Mr. Castle.
Nice to meet you. Yourself when you're a teacher.
Someone should make a bet with him and make him like cut off that joke.
No.
I mean,
tried. Aubrey did try.
We tried and failed miserably. Okay.
Okay.
So how many sides does this have?
Wow.
12. So what kind of polygon is it?
Polygon.
Dodecagon. Oh.
You actually can't. I wrote no comprehendo without the D at the end.
No comprende?
Oh,
So,
yeah, mark down
dodecagon.
the mistake. We made one last class.
So how can we figure out how can we figure out this one angle? If it's a regular polygon, how can we figure out this one angle?
You can look at the chart, or you can put in.
Divide
You have to put it in.
the thingy by the number of sides.
Divide what thing?
E minus
The
2.
sum of all the angles.
The sum of all the angles by the number of the angles there are? How many angles are there?
12, so it's going to be
12.
10.
So are the number of angles going to be the same as the number of sides?
No.
Yeah, that's good to know. Okay. Number of angles is going to be the same as the number of sides. So we need to figure out what the sum of the angles is. Riley, how did you figure out the sum of the angles?
So there's 12 angles, so you take 12 minus 2, 10 minus 10, and then you take 180 times 10.
So we know the sum of all the angles in here
No.
is 1,800.
I thought it was, never mind.
Okay. And now that we have the sum of all the angles, Aubrey, what did you say we could do? Divide it by 12.
12.
Why 12, Aubrey?
Because that's the number of sides and angles.
Number of sides and angles are the same. Okay. So we divide it by 12 because if it's regular, that means it's equal angular. All the angles are the same. So then what do we get? X is exactly. What do you want? Oh, boy, Jake.
Are you?
Don't
Guess
150 degrees.
Oh, wait, 'cause that is a
For a second, I thought you were confused.
So,
Oh my gosh, you're-
hey, voice off. Questions on number 1.
yeah, how did we get this?
Which
Because
part?
I was gone in the bathroom.
Okay. This was the thing we came up with last time.
Okay.
Was we said, hey, the sum of the interior angles of a convex n on any polygon
Yeah.
would just be where n represents the number of sides
Okay.
is n minus 2 times 180. This was the number of triangles form, n minus 2 was times 180.
Okay.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Dang.
Now I get it. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. So on 2, it was supposed to say name the polygon again. I wrote quadrilateral twice. Although, what kind of polygon is this?
It is
Circle.
A quadrilateral. Is a circle even a polygon, Evan? No, it's not. Jeepers. So it's a quadrilateral. Yeah, Kaylee. Yeah, bring it up here.
That's a G, not a Q.
It's Q. The tail goes the other way, so it's a Q.
That's why my Q.
Okay. So, how could we figure out the value of x in this one? Think about
I
it.
know.
Don't blurt, don't blurt. Think about it. Tyler, what are you thinking?
I was thinking kind of combine the two like equations that were given.
Okay.
And have that equal to like how much degrees are inside the shape.
The shape. Okay, so adding these two.
Yeah, and then like have it equal to the degrees.
Okay, so Tyler's saying 6x plus 50 plus 6x plus 10 is equal to the number of degrees of the whole shape. Okay, how much is supposed to be in the shape? Okay, how can we figure that out? If we don't just remember that there's 360 in a quadrilateral, how can we figure that out? We can do, and so we'll take 2 times 180. Okay, so Aubrey, do you agree or disagree with this? Okay, slightly disagree. So what don't you agree with?
I don't agree with that equals 360.
Okay.
It's not going to. It'll equal 180
Okay, so why do you say that?
because it's half of it, and those two bottom, angle A and angle D, are both 90-degree angles.
Okay, because of these box, right? So this is 90 degrees, and this is 90 degrees,
So
right?
those will add up to 180. So in theory, those should be also add up to 180.
Okay, so Aubrey's saying, hey, all 4 of these angles should add up to 360, but if we already know 2 of them are 90 and 90 that are adding up to that, if all 4 of these add up to 360, you know 2 of these add up to 180. So what's that mean the other 2 have to add up to? 180 as well. So this is how we set this up originally, and then yes, you could subtract away this 180 here, or you can go from here. So if you catch, oh, I can just take 180 off right away, awesome. So from here, we would solve this like a normal algebra equation. So what would we do?
We had to
Okay,
do that.
Josie?
Add like terms.
Okay, so what are some like terms you
So
can combine?
90, 90, 50, and 10.
Okay, 90, 90, 50, and 10.
So it'd be 240,
Very good, 240.
and then you add up the 2 x's.
Yep.
So it'd be 12x,
Okay, 6x plus 6x is 12x.
and yeah, that would, and then you subtract the 240 from each side, and then you get the total thingy, and then you divide by 12, and you get your answer. Right, so
Then, but I have a question. You can do it a different way.
Okay, how would you do it, Ian?
I would do 12x. It'd be 12x plus 50 equals 180 minus subtract
12x plus 60.
That's what, yeah, and then
Right.
minus 60
Yep.
to 180, and it'd be.
So
it'd be
Evan's kind of,
180.
Ian's kind of saying the same thing Aubrey was, where you could do 6x plus 50 plus 6x plus 10 is equal to 180 because we know that these 2 have to add up to 180 because these 2 are already 180. The whole thing's
Exactly.
60.
That's way better.
So if you want to do that, you're doing the same thing, except you did a couple steps in your head before we started. That's all that changed. You're really doing the same thing here. You just did this first step of taking away the 180 already. You just did that step in your head. That's the only thing that changed. It's still all the same math, still the same process. You're just doing that work in your head instead of on the paper there, which is fine by me. And you would end up getting the same exact thing, right? You still get 12x is equal to 120, and so x is 10.
But you still have to finish the thing out.
Well, what were we
It
asked
says
to find?
define X.
So Oh, did we finish it out already? Right. I want you to work on number 3. I know it's not up here right now. I want you to work on number 3. Okay?
Too bad it's so sad.
When you're done with number 3 or have questions on number 3, I want you to raise your hand. When you're done or have questions on number 3, I want you to raise your hand. Because this is the quadrilateral. So 4 sides minus 2 times 180. 2 times 180. So 90 plus 90 is 180. So, also doing health check. She can do an health check too. Yeah.
Are you guys gonna start practice on that field today, or probably not wait till Thursday?
Probably wait till tomorrow. These schools aren't out there yet.
Yeah, the Friday you're probably going to be out there. It's gonna be like 65 degrees. Like since like I know to go
Hi, right.
Like we have our. Are we still living on the sidewalk right here? But we also have a thing along.
Yes.
So like in our road right here, so if you go in, so like it comes down like that. So like we have to put like gravel. So like every time my dad orders gravel, he orders like the wrong stuff. So it's more dirt mixed in. So like I got sick this morning. I'm surprised I got out of the first place, but
Hey, Kaylee, still be good. Number 3. Okay. Questions on? Has everyone, except for get back from bathroom, has gotten number 3 checked? Okay, can somebody tell me how to set this one up?
yeah.
Okay, I'll have Ian tell me to set it up.
So all the angles, if you would, it's quadrilateral.
Okay.
So it's gonna add up to 360. So if we were to do 80 plus 70 plus x equals 2 plus 2x equals 360, it would be 150 subtract 360.
Okay, so first of all, I'll stop you there real quick. So we know a quadrilateral has an internal sum of 360 degrees. So we can either figure it out doing our polygon sum theorem or interior angle sum theorem, or as we start to do this more and more and more, that might be a fact we just start to internalize and memorize. We see a quadrilateral, oh, we think 360. So that might happen as well. So then Ian set up all these angles inside here and said, hey, all of these are going to add up to 360, so we'll add them to 360. And so now Ian's walking through how to solve it. I'll have Keely Park help with this part.
She was already on.
So, I didn't do the 70 and 80 part, but I'll just do it.
Cool.
So, the 70 and 80 equals 150, and then x and 2x equals 3x, and then you subtract 150 from both sides, and you get 210. Yeah, and then 3x divided, 3 divided by, 210 divided by 3 is 70. Shut up, Adrian.
Questions on that? No, could we go back and plug it in if we were asked to find angle S or something like that? Yeah, we could, okay.
I plugged it in just to make sure.
Right? And that's a good idea. Riley, say that again.
I plugged it in just to make sure I was
Right? So Riley plugged it back into T and S and then added it up again just to make sure she was right. That's the way we can check these. One's gonna kinda like it because we can check these.
Yeah, now we're gonna do 70 times 2.
Okay. Oh, in that case. Hey, Nana. Alright. 4. The sum of the interior angles of a convex polygon is 1,260 degrees. Classify the polygon by the number of sides. The sum is 1,260 degrees. We're supposed to figure out what kind of polygon it is by the number of sides. I want you guys to try and solve this one. Okay? Take a second, see if you can solve this one.
I don't know how to get it, but
Try and figure out how you get it mathematically so you can do it for anything.
This is not freshly produced, and also I'm disappointed.
I disappointed Mr. Crosswell.
Oh, I got it.
That's me.
Okay.
I'm thinking.
I think me.
Hey, will you check? I'm not
We're just gonna do 6 times.
So now how would you classify the polygon? What would you call it? Name of it.
Oh, I'm so close.
Not Steve.
I got it. Hey,
Uh,
did I get it? I don't know how to get it. Did I get it?
Most of them.
Do I have like the right setup here?
No.
Dabbing and Cam Newton.
What we just do?
Have you seen how the way he comments on Instagram? Every single letter has like an accent to it.
Okay, you're trying to get.
That's funny. I got it. Wait, it's right out.
If you're hearing this message, well then I guess you're hearing it, okay? Owen, get back to class now.
Are you leaving a message for Owen?
Yes.
Tell him he's trash and smash.
Owen, you're trash at Smash. Jigglypuff isn't even B tier, you lard. Get back to school.
Bandit Jordan all the way.
I'm a link boy.
You're going Pikachu.
Alright, kids.
Nerds himself.
Hey, raise your hand. Raise your hand if you can help me solve this one. How would we set this one up, okay? Let's go with, I'm going to go with Jacob on this one.
1,260 divided by 180.
That was easier.
I'm going to go with Aubrey setting this one up. Even
Yes.
though that way it will work, and I'll get to your way in a second, okay?
Okay, so. We have to start from there. Okay, anyway. That equals.
How do we get this set up?
Do you want me to-
Kaylee, you want to explain how we get this set up?
So basically, since like you're looking for the since the number of sides in all that is going to eventually equal up to that number, since the number of sides,
To N.
yeah, minus 2 yeah. So it's like basically, yeah, it's all gonna equal that anyways.
And then someone else try and
Can
explain
I
this.
say something better, please? Okay, so since the entire interior measure is equal to that, the n minus 2 times 180, that is the equation to figure that out. You're going to be able to figure out the number of sides based on putting, just making the equation out of it.
Yeah, so we have this equation where n minus 2 times 180, where n is the number of sides, is equal to that sum. So if we plug in the sum into this equation, then we can solve from there. And then Jacob, what was your first step in solving this?
Oh, I divided by 180.
So we divide by this 180.
Oh, that would have been a lot easier.
Did you distribute?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you could distribute and solve it from there. But if it's already multiplied, factored out in a way, right? Okay, so what did you get on the left side, Jacob?
I got 7.
Okay, and so 7 will equal n minus 2. We're able to divide this, no? By
Well, I
this.
mean, I'm saying you gotta like
Oh.
drag
And then Kaylee's saying we have to add 2 to get n by itself, and n is 9. So what kind of polygon is this?
Can I tell
That's
you?
my favorite.
Can I tell
I
you
love
what?
that
what
word.
you're saying.
Nonagon. I love
Evan.
that
Can I tell you a simpler way?
Maybe.
Okay, so this is the only time this way will work, but you know that, oh wait, it adds up to 1,260 degrees, and since a heptagon is 1,440 degrees and an octagon is 1,080 degrees, there's only one polygon between those two.
So Evan went to his chart.
That's how I knew.
Evan went to his chart earlier and said, hey, oh, an octagon has 1080, a decagon has 1440, 8 and 10, what's between those? 9. Okay, but if we don't have that chart, this is our way to figure this out.
That's why I knew it was not.
Questions on this one?
Random numbers into the calculator.
You could, but you might be there a while.
I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Okay,
7, 8, 9, 10.
But this is guaranteed to work. And if I gave you like a really big number or any random number, this would get you there instantly always.
Alright.
I
I
think
love
that they could
algebra,
have like
so weird.
15
I love
right, and
algebra.
it would be a circle.
Like if anybody needs
Yeah.
to in algebra,
Alright,
I'm
Okay, so you have this part where it says exterior angles.
Alright.
We have this part where the exterior angles. We're gonna move along, move along, move along. Right on this page. Jacob, look over here. Thank you. Okay, so look at this part where it says the bottom of the page. Okay, so if we make an exterior angle on this pentagon on the left side, okay, what do we notice first of all about this pentagon on the left side?
Equal angular.
It's equiangular. Okay, we don't know that it's necessarily regular, but we know this one's equiangular. Okay, so if I were to, let's just say that I have a straight edge right now, and I continued on this side, what would this angle be?
It's
No.
72.
How did you guys get 72?
Subtract
Oh,
80.
Because these form a linear pair.
Function.
So we take away
I didn't say
108 from 180 and get 72 degrees. So if I continue to do that here, what would this angle be?
72 degrees.
Do it here,
72 degrees.
do it here,
72 degrees.
do it here.
What's funnier than 71, guys?
Okay. So did I cover every side by doing this, every angle by doing this? Okay, I want you guys to draw this in real quick. What?
If that angle over there on the far right were pointing upward and went along that line, would that also be 72 degrees?
We'll talk about that in a second. I'll leave you in there for that.
Boy, I want to know what's up. Come on, tell me.
What,
Julie.
Kaylee?
Okay.
You know my favorite. Whenever somebody asks about something that happened in math, or like Mr. Costa like as a teacher, and I'm like, he's a good teacher. My favorite moment was this one time when he said, "Any questions?" and then nobody raised their hand, so he started to move on. And then somebody goes, "Wait, I have a question." He goes, "No, we're done," and then moved on.
I forgot about that. Good times. Okay, hey, so if we add up these exterior angles, these are exterior angles, remember we talked about those slightly before. If we add these up, what do you get? Don't flirt, add them up, I want to know what you guys get. Okay, but don't flirt, so write down. Maybe just put like sum to the right and say what it is. What is you're going to do this? Oh.
Don't blur out, please. Blur it out. Evan, I said no. It out.
By what?
That's the same thing, Daddy.
Okay, voice stuff. What do you guys get?
Xbox D6.
Okay. So the exterior angles of this polygon of a pentagon end up being 360 degrees.
Can I make
Now-
this?
Okay, so here's the thing. Would I have been able to draw one in here and it have been the same? And would this be also 72 degrees? Yeah, okay. But the important thing is for that is we only want to do one each one. So if I had done the purple this way, I wouldn't have wanted to do the red on this angle. We only want to do one exterior angle for every interior angle.
They're all going clockwise.
Yeah,
and then
or they would
they're
go the opposite way.
And then
So I
this
want
one-
you guys.
Oh my goodness, this is trippy because then this is.
No, not yet. I want you guys to do the exterior angles for these as well, and add them up. I want you to do the exterior angles for these as well.
Can I go the other way just to be
Sure.
like
Go the. I want you to do the exterior angles for these and add them up, and don't flirt.
Once we know the answer, try to do the voice.
No.
Please, no.
Please, yes. I will.
Do it just because Haley asked.
Don't do it because I said no.
Do it just because he said no.
Attention.
Say it in braille.
Thank you.
I'm just saying silent.
it's not.
Okay, it looked like it close. Okay. That makes way more sense.
I really like
that. It was hard. Or an H.
Yeah.
This is a B. Yes.
What was middle name starts with a B?
I know that Chico.
Two Amo Chicos.
You go spread the word to any word.
I like this. This is the first time I've heard it.
Ian. Two Amo
About a
Chicos.
week ago.
I don't know. I don't speak Spanish.
What would each of these exterior angles be?
Two Coco Penne.
Owen. Two.
360.
Shh. I didn't get there yet. Don't flirt.
Oh.
Oh.
No.
Owen.
This is why we
Two
hate
Coco
triangles.
Triangles.
No, this is why we respect Mr. Carlson saying don't flirt.
I'm sorry.
I
Whoa.
heard Mr. Carlson to you. Jacob, what's the sum of these?
360 degrees.
Is this a different kind of polygon?
Yes.
Do we think that might be the way for every kind of polygon?
No.
Yeah, it will be.
So you're saying the answer will
No, that's not what we're saying.
Okay, hold up. Hold up. Hold up. Go to the back. Look over. I scared of Mr. Carlson. That's you.
That's
The sum of the measures, listen up, the sum of the measures of the exterior angles of a convex polygon, where there's one angle at each vertex, is 360 degrees, regardless of the polygon, regardless of the size or shape, as long as it's convex, the sum of the exterior angles will be 360. One angle at each vertex.
No.
Wait, but what if they're not all equal?
Doesn't matter.
I'm thinking on acid.
So like, so if you're trying to find the signal, would you add those all up and then subtract it by?
Okay, so Josie, what's your idea to find?
Shut up, Ian.
What's your idea to find the missing angle here?
You add up all the angles and then subtract them by 360.
That's 235, by the way.
It equals
Just kidding. Yeah, it's like okay.
Equals.
So yeah, equals something. 360.
they add up to be 360, don't they?
181.
Yeah.
Okay, hold up, listen up, look up here. So, Josie said, hey, we have a polygon right here, a convex polygon. Everything points out, not in. Convex, not concave. Nothing caves in. Okay? You see that every time. We have a convex polygon here. And so we add up these exterior angles and they equal 360. Do we need to know how many sides this polygon has?
Not
No.
really, but
Not really. Not for this. So then we would solve this like we would normally. So we would combine like terms 70 plus 60 plus 65 plus 40. And what do those add up to be?
235
What?
And then how do we get y by itself?
Subtract
Oh.
2.
Y is equal to
125.
125 degrees for this angle measurement. Question on this one.
This is fun thing.
Okay. I want you guys to do number 6.
Easy.
I want you guys to try to do number 6.
Okay, this is not fun.
Well,
This needs to stop being. Wait, that is the blank one. There's a blank angle.
Challenge you.
Whoa, 180.
Still holding up, right?
You can
Still holding up.
wait a minute. I got this. Wait a hot second. Maybe I can do something different.
Boom. Don't disrespect my guy.
I said weird.
Who? Andrew?
Yes.
Ian, no.
cleared it. You talking about me?
Dumbo, go and.
Is that the second time that's happened?
Yeah. Well, the first time was me. You know, you think it'll be like that, but sometimes you do.
Yo, gravity be a stinker really fast.
Sometimes it just be like that.
Sometimes it just be like that. Wait a second.
Wait a hot minute.
This equals hot diggity dog.
Diggity dong. Hey Josie, this is your bag.
Yeah, that's my bag.
Oh, you were a little freaky.
I just forgot it yesterday. No.
That's my bag.
Yeah, it says Bonnie in it. That's definitely yours.
I got that bag too.
The Bonnie? Bonnie. With it. Bonnie.
Yeah.
Alright.
It's better with blue Bonnie on it.
Yeah, Bonnie. Yeah.
Whoa,
Can I get this
Bonnie
right?
looks so
Bonnie.
cool.
You know what?
Oh my god.
Why it's perfect?
I got right.
So you come from this angle.
What the heck is that English?
What is he doing?
So you know about this angle and this angle.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you know about this angle?
Oh, congratulations, Faith, on making the dance team. Maybe you can help it become better.
Ouch.
I'm just referring, like, you guys did good last year, but like, this year's gonna be rough.
No, you're right.
Did you just do what I just said? Did you
We didn't hear you from over here. I didn't hear what you just said. Yeah. No, I know.
Now, people louder than you.
Wait, actually.
I feel bad. Wait, is Cadence on dance or cheers?
Okay, well, I think it was this,
Chair,
right?
chair.
I'm actually.
I divided it.
No, I got it.
Nice.
I'll help
We're good.
you.
Nice. We're gonna talk about stuff here.
Did you try?
Wait, can you tell me when?
Oh yeah.
I am right now.
Okay. So, raise your hand if you can help me with this one. Evan, how would you start?
Alright, so we have x plus y plus 67 plus 75. And there's also a blank, so let's call this blank z for zebra.
Alright.
Why no?
Equals
Why not
360
just why no? Just leave it. I disagree.
Hey, hold up. Calm down. Okay. So we add up all the exterior angles equals 360 degrees. Okay, I agree with that principle. Can we call z anything different?
Why?
Why can we call this y?
Because they're congruent.
Because the interior angles are congruent, so the exterior angles have to be congruent. Because if they both form a linear pair with the same angle, they have to be the same angle.
Well, I didn't give it a name, I
So,
just improvised.
Okay.
I still did it different.
So, on top of that, guys, shh. Okay, on top of that, we call this y. Is there anything else we can call differently in here? Jacob,
X can become 90 degrees.
why is x 90 degrees?
Because on the inside it's 90 degrees, that's equal 180.
On the inside is 90 degrees, so that's equal 180. So can we also change this out here in the equation for x?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now can we have 90 plus y plus 67 plus 75 plus y
But you
equals
also just
360?
Or you can
X.
And we found x in this process. So we found x is 90, and then we can combine like terms and get 2y to something plus 2y.
232.
Add those up. Okay, first of all, before we continue any further, we have questions on how we got here. Before we continue any further, are there questions on how we got here? No, before we finish, question on how we got here. Okay, Ian.
It, 232 subtract 360 would be 128. Then you divide it by 2 and it would be 64. And then they're both 64 on the exterior angles. Y'all good?
So x is 90 and y was 64. Question on how we got that.
Y'all good? Blue game.
The y itself makes two angles. Look at that.
Ooh, why does it make sense?
It makes it supplementary.
Mixed numbers.
They don't add up to 180.
It's a straight, it's a line.
Y and the Y.
What?
Why itself, no.
The y with this angle make a linear pair, and the y with this angle.
No, no, like the letter Y.
Oh. Okay. Sure. Example 7. The measure of one interior angle of a regular polygon is 108 degrees. Find the number of sides of the polygon, and there are 2 ways to do this. I want you guys to try and figure this one out.
How do you know the answer?
My former methods work.
No. Looking at the chart is not one of the ways. Looking at the chart is forbidden.
I'm going back to this.
To be honest, I accidentally.
Okay, going back to this right here, Mr. Fossil, I see you.
No, really?
I got it. I got it.
I don't.
Oh, wait. I passed the chart.
I just need to choose. No, we're not running out of
Oh. Oh, you need to be more selective.
Oh my God,
Your
Kevin.
fault.
By the way.
an accident of like,
Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Fossil, consideration.
Yakety yeah. Mr. Fossil.
I don't
Dang, I looked!
City Hall.
Game.
Mr. Fossil.
Sounds like you get him like you're holding between your fingers.
Really?
Oh, wow.
According to my calculation,
Oh my
maybe
God.
it's negative 25 sides.
You thought Mr. Fossil was this guy. Well, when Mr. Fossil did this.
I don't think that's correct.
Oh, and I just scolded Jacob's water
Alright.
bottle.
So does anybody have a way that worked that wasn't looking at the chart or looking at something else, but actually something mathematical?
Okay, well, I did, but I got negative 25. I got negative 25.
So yeah, can a polygon have negative sides?
No, that's like what I got.
So here's one way we could do this.
You know that, right?
So we know that n minus 2 times 180 will be what? The total angle, the total of the sum of the interior angles, right? So what if we divide this by n? Would we get each individual angle? If we divide the total sum, if this is a sum originally, that's the sum originally, and then we take, and before if we took the sum of whatever something was and divided by the number of sides or angles, did we get each individual angle?
Yeah.
Okay, so would we be able to take n minus 2 times 180, which is the sum, and divide this by n to get each individual angle?
You're going way too fast.
Okay,
Oh,
so
wait,
n minus 2 times 180 is equal to the sum of all the angles, right?
Yep.
Okay, we said for a regular polygon, we could take that sum and divide it by the number of angles, and we get each angle, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so then you do, well, this is our sum, so we divide that by n. And we could set that equal up to each individual angle, and what is each angle? 108. So you could set it up here, and the best way to go about solving this would be multiplying by n to get that out of the denominator. We don't want that in the denominator. That's a troubling circumstance. So it'd be n minus 2 times 180 is equal to 108n.
But what did you do with the other end?
You
Multiply it on both sides.
So they
So
went
that's like the denominator, and now it's over here. Okay. Then you could do this a couple different ways. I just distributed it in this 180. I just made it 180n minus 360 equals 108n. And here, what variable are we solving for?
Wait,
So you would have to subtract.
why would we distribute n times n minus 2?
I distributed 180 80. Because when n multiplies with this whole side, it's like m over 1, and so we can instantly cross simplify. So we don't have to do it. So from here, we'd want to, you can subtract 180 n to get all the n's by itself, and it's okay for it to be negative for a second, because it's going to be negative 360 is equal to negative 72n. And how do you get n by itself?
I'm still up at the part where it's
Here?
no, down one more. Right there. How did you get 180 n?
I distributed 180.
Yeah, but what about that n that you have up there?
It's right here. So this multiply with both sides to get it out of the denominator. So when you divide by negative 72, what do you get n to be?
So then,
Try negative 360 divided by negative 72.
Aubrey got 5. Aubrey.
Here's another way. Let me walk through another way quickly how we can do this, okay? Now, if one angle is 108 degrees, what's going to be the exterior angle? How can you find the exterior angle? 72. So you can subtract 180 and get 72. Now, what do we know about the exterior angles? What are they all going to add up to be? So you can take 360 divided by this exterior angle, and is that essentially what we ended up doing when we got to this point? Was 360 divided by 72,
Oh my god.
and got 5. Which way was faster?
Why don't you just have us do that first?
Because he likes to troll people.
that equation,
Yeah.
but
Nice.
hadn't started.
Right?
Wait, why
This
are
is generally what people think through. Why did I get 72? Because this would be one exterior angle. So if these were all if they're all the interior angles, so here this is the pentagon. These were all the interior angles, 108 degrees, and this exterior angle has to be 72 degrees. And if it's regular, then all of them are.
For cost.
So you can just take that total of the exterior divided by that and get 5. Now I am going to pass out some homework real quick. Okay, Kaylee, what's your question?
Why did you make us start a whole new unit like right before spring break?
Because they didn't want to have us do nothing for a little bit.
We could have played math.
But
We could have played math and ball.
Watch The Office.
No.
Oh my gosh! Yes, we
Yeah,
could have
yeah,
watched the
yeah.
first season.
I think you guys will be fine. I think after a little bit of review on that Monday way back, I think we'll be okay.
Mr. Gossel, can
Yeah,
I
this
class?
is
Apple side by side and kind of so far I guess. Hey, can you No, I
Owen,
do remember.
2 Amo Chicos, E, 2 Poco Penne, Lardo.
I can't find my paper.
Mr. Cossel, can I play a banger tune for study hall?
No.
Can you put
What?
my
It's
name
only
on
40
Jacob's
seconds.
pass, please?
It's the period of
Jacob can put your name on his pass and I'll sign it.
No, I'm
Can I run to Miss Joblin's fast?
4.
I have to get a permission slip.
Five.